he's got a ditch in the yard, kind of borderline. I don't know if I want to do something to help him, but I might have to talk to y'all. So I might have to go out there and look at it a little bit more. But, I feel like it's part of that problem. Robert kind of, not really.
She just did something with the temperature, so.
Got this ditch in front of him. We on the road. The guy's got a house, like a house. It's like a house here, houses. This is a county road, subdivision. And the guy's house here, there's like a waterway here, and we got a ditch here.
Is this like new batteries?
What's that?
Kind of like.
I don't know. It's a little bit, yeah, it's running behind. That one up there's got a different time too. So we'll get her going. There you go. There you go. Well, you have fun up there. Well, good morning and welcome to the Bullitt County Fiscal. Good afternoon and welcome to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court. It's March the 5th at 6:30 p.m. And at this time, if Pastor Tim Miller, if you come up here from the Faith Assembly of God, Lebanon Junction, and lead us in the invocation and the pledge.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening with thanksgiving, thankful for freedom, thankful, Lord, for your grace and your mercy. Lord, we're thankful that we can even come here before this court and pray in your name. And Lord God, I pray that you bless, Lord, these representatives and leaders of our county. I pray that you give them wisdom. I pray, God, that you help them make good decisions and that they seek your counsel, Lord. And Father, I pray that you bless and prosper our county and the citizens of this county. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor Miller. At this time, Sam, if you would call the roll to bring the court to order, please.
Sarah Sanders. Present. Sean Logston.
Here.
Karen Johnson.
Here.
Brian Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
All present.
Okay. The Treasurer's Transfer Report, Ken Ann.
Yes, Nathan, that is dated for February the 29th, 2024 for your approval, and also for today, which is March the 5th of 2024 for your approval.
I'll put that in the form of a motion that we accept the Treasurer's Transfer Report as presented.
I second.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 1st District Magistrate Sanders to approve the Treasurer's Transfer Report for the two mentioned dates as presented. Sam, call the roll.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. The presentation and approval of all bills.
I make a motion that we accept the presentation and approval of all bills.
I'll second.
Got a motion by 1st District Sanders, a second by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson to approve the bills as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Approval of minutes for the February 20th, 2024 Bullitt County Fiscal Court meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of February 2024.
I second.
Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Bleemel, a second by 1st District Magistrate Sanders to approve the Bullitt County Fiscal Court's minutes of the February 20th, 2024 meeting. Sam, call the roll, please.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Do you have the list?
In our
Okay. Thank you, Keith. Okay. We have Jennifer Steffens, Highway 44, water. Jennifer?
My name is Jennifer Stefano. I'm here with my husband, Mark. We live out on Highway 44 West. We're fairly new to y'all's community. We moved out here October 21. And it's the area that you guys locally call the Old Pig Farm. So you guys are probably familiar with our area. We have to haul in water to our area. There's no water. I work in Louisville at the VA there, and I have to go by the water point that we pull our water from daily, a couple times a day. And I see people cleaning out septic tanks. I see people cleaning out chemical tanks. And you kind of have to wonder how safe that water is for us to consume after all of these nasty, vehicles and whatever chemicals and pollutants that they carry are cleaning. And then recently, within the last couple of months, we had an instance where somebody reported one of those such things of a chemical truck being cleaned out there. So they shut down that water point. But also the other 3 local water points were also shut down. We had 2 weeks where we couldn't get any water, and we couldn't pay anybody to haul water in because they were so bombarded, they wouldn't even put any more people on the list. So we couldn't get any water. So what we hear is that water's going in a mile down the road, and we would like for you to consider the group of houses that are down, I think it's right at a mile, maybe a little bit less, to consider our houses too. I'll also say that, back in December, the Sheriff's Department had to help us with an incident where we had an intruder in our home, and the SWAT team had to be called. So we need emergency services out there where we're at. It can happen. It wasn't a fire this time, but it could have been. So we think it's a good opportunity to maybe put in fire hydrants for us out there as well. We really want you guys to consider us. There's about 5 houses right there. There's a new one being built. They'll also need water. So that's what we're asking, is that you guys consider us when that water's being put in a mile down the road.
Okay, Ms. Steffens, we will put you on the list. We have a list of unserved areas in this county that we've been working with Louisville Water, and we've been getting the largest areas first because it's a return on Louisville Water's investment, but we will put you on the list. I'll assure you that, and hopefully by the time we get out of here, you'll have water.
Well, thank you. That's all we ask. We appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for coming in. Sorry, Vera. Teresa Clifford, Hostclaw Hill, something of BC.
Good evening. Thank you guys for opening us to come for the evenings. It makes it a lot easier to be here and be present. I'm coming in hopes of making a change for the strays of Bullitt County. There's several things to focus on, in my opinion. Transparency is one of the things. We've had an instance this week with a youth list, and a lot of the community members were asking about notifications. Nobody knew. We knew the shelter was full, but full to a community member that doesn't know that language, didn't realize that there were dogs going to be losing their lives. So there's a lot of passionate people for animals in this community, and they were pretty upset to not be able to help. Luckily, we were able to help and got the word out, and one dog was saved. The other one was not as lucky. So what we would like to see is more help and more transparency. Also, we have some really high-risk areas for dumping. My area is one of them. I have sent in information about a truck that's been dumping animals from October of 22 to January of 23. I sent pictures of the truck. I have pictures of the dogs. Some of them have to be trapped. I mean, we have people in our community doing a lot to help the shelter already. There is a volunteer page, and I was on that, but as of Friday, I have been removed from that. I'm not sure really why, other than the post maybe that I made, and they were not happy about that. I'm happy to help the shelter. I'm not here in any way to degrade them or anything. I'm happy to do whatever it is that I can do in my community for the strays. I'm not sure if they track trending or nuisance complaints. I've seen on some of our neighborhood pages that the nuisance complaints are just falling on deaf ears, and one was actually told to shoot the neighbor's dog because there was nothing they could do for the dog trespassing. There was no warning to the neighbor by animal control. There's just a lot of things that I think we need to focus on to help the strays. I know the shelter's small, I know they're short-staffed, but I also know that there's people in the community that are willing to help. There's a lot of people who have rescue connections that we are happy to share. I have emailed several rescues this week just trying to move a couple dogs that I know have been there a while. I do this on my own time. I work a full-time job. I have 2 kids. I have a husband who runs a business in Bullitt County. It's time-consuming, but I consider it my passion. I consider being a volunteer. Whether I'm on the page or not, it's not going to stop me from helping the animals in this county. We just need to be more volunteer-friendly, more community-friendly. When someone calls up there, a lot of times they don't get an answer from anyone. So it's just something that I would like to put on the radar to maybe monitor, and then just maybe trying to educate the public or having low-cost spay and neuter programs, inviting the public into the shelter, even if it's just giving away free leashes. I can get enough people to donate leashes, collars, anything for pets, dog food. Invite people in. You never know who's going to fall in love with a dog that day and take them home. And then there's an open kennel. So I have a lot written here, and I didn't follow it, but I just also want to say that God made a way to save a life this week, and I hope that He continues, and I hope that you hear everyone here speaking up for the animals of Bullitt County, because there are people who care. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Ms. Clifford.
Christy Aubrey. And with the speakers, if y'all be considerate of the time that you have.
Hello, I'm Kristen Aubrey. I will also tag on what Teresa said here today and say thank you for allowing us this opportunity, especially being in the evenings where we can go work our full-time jobs and still make time to be here to do what we do off the clock, right? So I'm also here in regards to the Bullitt County Animal Shelter. I've worked with animal shelters and rescues within our community and surrounding counties for several years. While it is extremely sad to see, I understand that sometimes euthanasia is inevitable for various reasons. I also know that shelter workers will do everything in their power to network with rescues and get the animals out of the shelter that are at risk of being euthanized. However, there have been a lot of posts recently on social media from the volunteers that specific dogs were at risk of being euthanized. When asking the shelter which dogs were at risk for being euthanized, they did not respond. Additionally, those posts were removed of the dogs that were at risk possibly. I posed the question as to why this information is not being made public. Shelters primarily rely on social media to network dogs for rescue or adoption. I do not see that from our county shelter. The dogs at the shelter are being posted one time at time of vetting and not again after that. Bullitt County has a very committed group of volunteers and supporters. They spend their time during the weekends walking dogs, cleaning litter boxes, and or actively sharing posts, whether on their own social media pages or sharing what the shelter posts. These are things that other volunteers see, but if rescues are following the shelter page, they will not see this. There is a level of transparency missing that could allow some of the longer resident shelter animals to be networked through reputable rescues if given the opportunity. I'm asking for updates on available dogs, what rescues the shelter is actively working with, and communication to ensure the county residents and volunteers are aware of the overpopulation and stray problems that definitely exist in this community. Additionally, I will add that last Friday, I picked up 4 stray female puppies on the side of the road in Bullitt County in a very common dumping area. The shelter also got a call to respond to this, And when they got there, they said, "Oh, are you good? Do you have these dogs?" Luckily, they ended up with someone that will send them through rescue. They will be properly vetted and spayed, and they will never have to endure being dumped potentially or bred for profit in this community. So I just wanted to ask for more clarification and more communication, just transparency in general when it comes to the dogs in our community and what the community needs to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tamara Tennell. There you go.
Hello, good evening. I'm also kind of piggybacking on them a little bit, but with a little bit more kind of in depth. I'm the one that rescued one of the dogs. I had been going and visiting with Twix since December, end of December. I had filled out applications. I had visited with her several times because that was their policy with her. They said that she needed to meet all members of our household and including any animals in the household. She had met almost everybody. My husband was a little bit resistant on adopting another animal, so he hadn't met her yet. When I found out because of the volunteers that had spoke out regarding the euthanization, I called them at 9:11 in the morning, Monday morning, left them a voicemail. Hey, I had an application in. What do I need to do to make this happen so that she doesn't have to be euthanized? Nobody returned my call. I called again on Wednesday, and I was told my application was denied because I did not meet their criteria because my husband hadn't met her yet. I said, well, there's still time. Can we come up there? Again, I was rejected. I showed up Wednesday. I too work a full-time job. I also do Bullitt County PTSA, running it basically alone. I also have 4 children who are in activities. I don't have time to constantly try to nitpick with them, and I had a very rude individual who was not willing to talk to me, not willing to inform me of anything. So again, that transparency was not there. He also disregarded my application. I had gone through their process, didn't bother following up with me. I had gone many a times. Nobody was going to say anything. Fortunately, I had some people that also heard me, and they made it possible. She has been at my home now since Friday afternoon, has not shown one bit of any kind of aggression towards my family, towards people coming in. We just had our heating ventilation system done service for the spring. Nothing. Plays well, has had no problems whatsoever. I think more people there needs to be a good due diligence process if a dog does need to be euthanized due to time constraints or anything of that nature, more than one person needs to have a say in that, whether it be volunteers, other people at the shelter, something, because she was going to be put to sleep for no reason. She's a great animal, and she's a happy member of my family, and I'm willing to share as many pictures as anybody wants to see because she's fantastic. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Tamara.
Thank you, Ms. Tennell.
Kara Mills, water.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Carol Mills, and I live at 7637 Highway 44 West, and we are the original purchasers of the Moore family farm. It was there, it went up for auction, and we bought it. And so we've been living there now for 8 years, built a new house out there out on the farm. And we knew in the beginning that the water supply was not Louisville water. We have a well, and that can be okay. But, of course, you have to filter that and filter that. We filter it 2 or 3 times to be able to drink it because we had it tested and didn't come out quite right. So anyway, we have the well. But what has happened is we had a drought this past summer, fall, and so my husband and one of the neighbors hauled water. And, fortunately, yes, that was inexpensive, just a lot of work for people to be able to drink water and to bathe. So we said, what can be done? And then, of course, someone has purchased property up on the hill right there by us, and it's he purchased 100 acres, and they are now getting water right there. We happen to lie from 1 mile from the Mount Eden Church to the Baptist Church, right there, and no water. There's several things that come about with that. We don't, we're not always going to have a water supply for our, drinking and bathing, but if we had a fire, what's going to happen? Now, I understand the fire department hauls water, but now we have 7 homes, an 8th home coming up in that 1 mile stretch, and are we going to have protection if we have a fire? So, there's some things that need to be thought about, and I think about, city planning, farm planning, whatever we want to call it, community planning. We need water. We need a good water supply. And we're thinking, well, hey, they're right there. They're right there. Where that development is not even a mile. We're probably a quarter of a mile from what's happening there. So we're just asking, please talk to those people that are in charge. You all have the power here. Please talk to them, because, we want to be safe. We want to be able to drink and bathe, and we don't want our houses to burn down. So, and also, if you think about it, there are other people moving from the city out here. And, there is more land back there. Could we sell some more land and build some more homes if we could attract them because we have city water? So I'm just asking you all to help us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Carol.
That was one of the things when I even first moved here. It just amazed me how many people in this community and county doesn't have public water. It really was a big, big shock to me. And I know we've tried real hard, and I'm even looking at a sheet right now that's got quite a few water projects we're currently working on with Roe Hill, North Nelson, and some other different places. But we'll definitely try to identify those locations and see if something can be done down the road, because, there's no reason this day and age anybody shouldn't have access to public water, for sure.
Yeah, and Carol, to help to drill down here with Magistrate Logston, we do have a sheet that's been provided by us by Louisville Water, and we are really working judiciously to get the funding to be able to do all these projects in the next couple of years. Can you hear me? I'm sorry, I had to take us off for a few minutes, but we are.
And I know somebody, I don't know where they went, that brought up the idea about I got a call about the water pump station, one of them not working when it was contaminated too.
Yeah.
I do know that when we build the new animal shelter, hopefully, everything's going to be, they're going to have a Louisville Water supposed to put a transfer station there. So it's going to be a nice, accessible, easy to get in, easy to get out there on Preston. And we'll look into some of these complaints. It's the first complaint we've gotten in a long time with the animal shelter. So it's good to hear those, and we can obviously talk about those and see if there's something that can be done to make that process a little bit easier. But I know we are excited about the new shelter. I know one of the things that in the talks about the new shelter is creating some kind of space there where it's more interactive for people to come in and be able to visit with the animals versus what we've got now. So hopefully we'll have some type of area there that can be really, really interactive. And I know we're in the process of designing all that, and hopefully construction and all that will get started, around June or so this year. But that's going to be exciting. But obviously, everything, the public's got to be, so we'll look into that.
We will.
I
Thank you.
appreciate y'all coming also to share your concerns.
Mackenzie King. Mackenzie, here. No? She leave? Okay. All right. Colonel? That's okay. You're becoming a regular at the court. And I'm glad to see you here tonight, because last night, and missed you a little bit last night, but you sent a good representative.
I look forward to sharing our story, answering any questions from your constituents. So
Yep.
we appreciate all of our relationships with the various counties that butt up against Fort Knox, and just look forward to the continued partnership. So for everybody out here, I'm Colonel Chris Ritchie. I'm the garrison commander at Fort Knox. I'm here to talk to you today about Llano Range Complex. So before I start, I'd like to thank Judge Summers and the Fiscal Court for affording me the opportunity to come back for an evening session to discuss the impending reopening of a Fort Knox range. More specifically, I plan to highlight what the range is, the types and expected frequency of associated training, and why we believe it is prudent to address this audience as part of helping promote awareness and understanding. Next slide. So I'm going to start real quick by going back about 8 decades. Real quick. All right. A significant portion of Fort Knox's southeastern area, which is in southwestern Bullitt County, called the Rolling Fork Tank Range, came online in 1943. It was later renamed Llano Range after Medal of Honor recipient Rodney J.T. Llano, and has been one of the primary Fort Knox ranges throughout its existence. Next slide. All manner of tank, Bradley fighting vehicle, aviation, mounted and dismounted training have regularly occurred at Llano Range through the years. And up until the Armor School moved to Fort Moore, Georgia, the range was active about 200 days a year. Following the Armor School's departure in the 2010-11 time frame, the range was still in use for about 150 days a year. That's because there are few ranges that offer what Llano does, so units from across the Department of Defense came here to train. It's a massive footprint, and the Rolling Fork River Basin is flat, which isn't very common in range complexes, and it allows ground units to maintain long line of sight to targets. Back in 2010, which again was when the Armor School was moving from Fort Knox, the Army determined that newer, reimagined, and more advanced technological ranges would be needed to improve the training for our service members that they require in order to be best prepared for future conflicts. And thus, the Digital Air-Ground Integration Range, or DAGR, was born, which is what I'm going to talk you all through today. Next slide. So Fort Bliss, Texas, and Fort Knox were chosen as the 2 sites for such a capability to be built at active Army military reservations. So why Fort Knox in particular? There's several reasons. Llano Range already fit the profile for the type of range needed for a DAGR, so it would cost less to construct at Fort Knox. For perspective, its improved footprint is about 3,650 acres. When you include the footprint of the impact area, where the ordnance is going to detonate or impact, we're talking about 9,900 acres. It's up to 5 kilometers wide, about 3 miles at some points, and 8 kilometers long, about 5 miles. Having Llano Range in a hot or in-use status causes minimal to no impacts to other Fort Knox ranges. And just being a career Army guy, usually when we're doing this type of training, we've got to shut the entire post down at other portions, across the rest of the Army. So this is really unique. The 101st Airborne Division out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky, by virtue of their mission and significant aviation assets, they require a DAGR for training. And as the crow flies, they're only about 115 miles away, a real short helicopter ride. Additionally, Fort Knox's central geographic location in general is advantageous for our Army as a whole. Lastly, and probably most importantly, Llano Range was due for an upgrade. So it all worked out. So needless to say, there was a lot working in Fort Knox's favor to be selected. Next slide. So Llano Range officially closed for its overhaul on August 1st, 2018. And so for about 5+ years, that range has had no training activity. From 2018 to 2020, work was concentrated on unexploded ordnance clearing. From 2020 to 2023, it was mainly construction. The last 3 months, we've been busy doing target installation. And from now through May, we're in the final phase where we're going through control system integration. In all, we're talking about a $56 million project. So when Llano Range reopens in May, what types of training will occur and how often will it be utilized? While we do anticipate more aviation use, the range will have similar types of training as before. So again, we're talking virtually all types of tracked and wheeled vehicles, utility and attack helicopters, fixed-wing aircraft, artillery and mortars, and dismounted training. Basically an infantryman's Candyland. I mean, I'm excited for it. All right, next slide. So put simply, DAGR is the largest and most complex live fire range that the Army utilizes at a home station. It's a game changer because the instrumentation on the range allows for the true integration of air and ground unit training. The level of performance feedback is going to be much more advanced and increasingly thorough thanks to a multitude of systems that integrate with one another to provide detailed information and analysis. In truth, this type of modernization and training capability are what's needed to meet the military demands of today. As far as actual range utilization, that picture is going to become clearer for us as time goes on. What we do know is that the 101st Airborne Division down at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, has an annual Dagger training requirement of just over 200 range utilization days per year. To add to that, there'll be other units east of the Mississippi River coming here to use Dagger. The bottom line, Llano Range is expected to be just as utilized as it has been for the last several decades. So it's fair to say, with the exception of just the last 5+ years, it's going to be back to business as usual for Fort Knox. Some of you might refer to that as the sound of freedom. All right. Next slide. So to recap 3 major points. The Dagger Range is a big deal for the Department of Defense, the Army, and the greater Fort Knox community. A $56 million investment, especially in a range, is quite significant, but it has been made to ensure our troops are the best trained in the world. As our most recent former Chief of Staff of the Army, General James McConville, often said, winning matters, and it absolutely does to us. And part of that equation entails our troops getting back home safely. And as I've said before, I'm thankful that the people of Central Kentucky agree with these sentiments and support our military in unwavering fashion. Number 2, Fort Knox is a world-class installation. It's a multifunctional Army post home to 9 general officer commands with central roles in recruiting, training, and supporting the warfighter. The fact that we are only one of 2 active Army installations with a Dagger further illustrates the value placed in our 106-year-old Army post and the critical role it plays in supporting and defending our nation. Number 3, this is not a newly created range with never before heard training activity emanating from the southeastern area of Fort Knox. Far from it. In fact, it's still Llano Range from 1943, albeit with significant upgrades to keep necessary pace with change. Next slide. So I've only been on ground here at Fort Knox since last July, but I have been made aware that the subject of Dagger has been communicated over the last several years in various forums. The news media, Chamber of Commerce events, Knox Regional Development Alliance engagements, compatible use plan open houses, meetings with area elected officials and civic leaders, engagements with area planning and development officials and realtor associations and more. So this really shouldn't be news or a surprise to those living Fort Knox. That said, as we all know, there may still be some who say they were caught off guard when they heard Llano Range training. We're trying to avoid that the best we can. This is where we kindly ask for everyone's assistance in spreading the word and helping people understand. For added context, when it comes to military training, we don't do any more training than what is necessary due to a multitude of considerations. This includes being a good neighbor, being fiscally responsible, and making best and most prudent use of service members and units' time. At the same time, we as a nation have a solemn obligation to ensure our troops and units can maintain critical capabilities and readiness during the daytime and nighttime hours. While training occurs on Fort Knox virtually every day, and even up to 100 training events in a single day at times, we do put out notification on occasions when it is believed training will be particularly louder than normal. It's an imperfect science because it's hard to predict atmospheric conditions that have a vote on noise levels, but it is a step we take to provide a heads up. This includes posted messages to Fort Knox Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, as well as emails to local judge executives, mayors, and law enforcement agencies. Next slide. So that's all I have this evening. Again, I appreciate the partnership and being invited back after having presented at the February 20th Fiscal Court meeting. As a general statement to the people of Bullitt County, please know that the Army families and units that make up Fort Knox love serving here in Central Kentucky. I mean this sincerely. This area is special, patriotic, and always supportive. We couldn't ask for more, and we thank you all. At this time, I'm going to take some questions, but I just kind of want to tell everybody who else is here. If you gentlemen could introduce yourselves. Rodney, we'll start with you.
I'm Rodney Meeks. I'm the Range Manager at Fort Knox.
So he's the one that takes care of all the training. Go ahead. He's the guy that tells me what to say. Next. And that's the guy that keeps me out of trouble. All right, so I got a great team on Fort Knox, and we're happy to field any questions any of y'all have.
What area of Bullitt County is that going to be? You said southwest, western?
I gotta look
Is
at
it going
the.
I'm a little
Yeah.
near
Yeah.
Lebanon Junction.
Lebanon
That's what I
Junction.
was wondering.
And my deputy, Mr. Bradford, who's made his home in Kentucky now, so he's now a Brandenburg person. But, you know, Mr. Bradford, he does a lot of local civic engagement. He went out last night and had a meeting with Lebanon Junction, and I know this topic was discussed along with others.
Yep. Yeah, he was very articulate about that. I was there last night.
Yeah, that's great.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm blessed to have Mr. Bradford on my team. He does a lot for us in helping make inroads with community partnerships.
I'm a little jealous. A few years ago, I seen some pictures of the judge in a helicopter getting to fly over that area. So if there's any like inspections that need to be done, or anybody from, I'd be more than happy to take a trip.
So it's funny. So what y'all might not know, we've got the largest reserve, so part-time folks, but we've got the largest reserve aviation unit on Fort Knox. About half the reserve's helicopters are on Fort Knox. We got like 50 some odd aircraft parked there. And those are part-time folks. A large majority of them are Kentucky born and raised, and they wanted to join the reserves, either fly helicopters, be a mechanic on helicopters, you know, I mean, it's a pretty cool unit. I had a good phone call with General Dion, I think it was yesterday. He's the commander of the Army Reserve Aviation Command, and he was like, Chris, I'll fly people. You just got to come up with a reason. Like, help me with the lawyers. I can make it happen. So I'll keep that in mind.
All right.
I'll keep that.
Okay.
Tammy, you ready? I'll bring a lawyer with me. Okay.
Any other questions for Commander?
Thanks for the updates. I noticed that you all been going to a lot of other counties, Hardin County, different things I've seen on social media. So, I mean, it's when the sound of freedom happens, I think people are going to be well informed that it's coming.
I get excited to be able to show off what we're doing on post and make relationships with people outside the gate. So that's cool. Just about anything. All right. I mean, this is a complex live fire capable range. So anything from 9mm pew-pew, right, to, you know, 155 artillery, right, and everything in between. And then when we start getting the word out on this, you know, we've got opportunities in our range complex to bring in ordnance from outside of Army inventory, whether I'm dropping ordnance off a United States Air Force, you know, fighter bomber, or I'm doing cross-training with the Marine Corps and the Navy. So it's really just got a wide range of capability. It's why it's so important. There are not too many places in the United States, I've been to a lot of them as an infantryman, where you can do this kind of training. So it's very special. And we've got some real marquee units for the defense of our country along this eastern seaboard. You know, whether it's the 10th Mountain Division up at Fort Drum, I've got the 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Liberty, I've got the 101st at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I mean, you've got 3rd Infantry Division down at Fort Stewart, Georgia. So you've got all these major warfighting units that are going to find out about this capability and take advantage of using it on Fort Knox. So.
Big fan of freedom here.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, no, I understand, ma'am. I understand.
My husband retired Army munitions as well, so he understands. But my question for you all is it all hours? Are we looking at, is it going to be in the middle of the night? Are we going to expect the booms to wake us up?
So as part of our outreach campaign, when we go into night training and we know it's going to be louder than normal, we're going to recommend. So unfortunately, ma'am, I wish the bad people let us kill them during the day. But we do most of the Army certifications for going forward for combat take place at night. It's what we do. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Of course, I'm retired military.
Yes, sir. capability, sir. So, I mean, technically, right now, when Dagger comes online, I can technically do even a more complex integration exercise here than even at the Combat Training Center. So if I was a unit commander trying to put together a training plan for going overseas, I would blend this with the capability of the Combat Training Center.
Pull in your artillery training.
Yep.
Assets.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a silly question.
It's okay.
How many years will this go on?
Oh, just like Cinciano's been around since 1943, it's as long as the great people in America let us keep Fort Knox. You know, I mean, that's really what we're talking about. I mean, $56 million investment. I mean, I've been in the Army for a long time. I've never seen a range get that kind of investment from the Army. It's really rare. It's unique. So it's good news for us from an Army standpoint on showcasing Fort Knox's importance back to Washington, D.C., back to the Department of Defense. So I think for the local community and the economic impact of Fort Knox, there's some safety in that investment.
So, you make it sound so interesting. I would like to see it.
Sounds like she wants to be on that helicopter ride.
I got to get a lot of helicopters.
Yeah,
There you go.
No, what we're going to do, so we're going through that final instrumentation aspect. I've actually got the team, we're going to work through, when we get like a high-end unit here, we will be able to push out, you know, what we like to call the hula video, right? But we're going to work with public affairs and some of those higher-end units to come out here for training, and we'll be able to show you guys on live feed what that capability looks like in real time. So, you know, with maybe some rock music playing or something.
There you go.
Yeah. But absolutely. I don't know if I can put you on a helicopter, though. Yeah.
Colonel, if I may ask, one, the impact range will continue to be what's always Ace Flats?
Yeah.
And will Wilcox, is it still gonna be in operation, and is it still, the impact ranges, or the impact areas Ace Flats?
Well, so Wilcox actually would be more than, definitely Ridge is what we call it.
Yeah.
That's called the same thing. But, so that impact from Wilcox doesn't go quite as far south as Ace Flats.
Okay.
So the interesting thing is the dynamic that a lot of the training that was going on at Yano, we had to move north to Wilcox. So that'll kind of level out a little bit. So you may see a little bit less of Wilcox now.
Okay, and then finally, or a couple of things. One, can we get, the telephone number for our E911 dispatch is 502-543-7074. And we get a lot of calls, my deputies, and then various, when things are getting rocking and rolling there, then we get the telephone call there about what's going on and this and that. So in addition to contacting the judges' offices and the mayors and stuff, could you look at reaching out to our dispatch center too, so they've got it, when my deputies get the call, they can thank you. And then, years ago, they used to have a range day once a year where people they sat on bleachers and different things that the Army was willing to show everybody. Do y'all still do that?
That was back during the tank days.
That was back in the Armor School.
Yeah.
We had actually more than one day. There's a few events that we did this summer. We did a firepower demonstration. That moved to Fort Moore.
Okay. All right, that's all I've got.
Thank you. Thanks, Sheriff. Yes, sir.
One other thing, I know people like said they've seen more than two-rotor helicopters, Chinooks. And now I think, when you said the word green, that means we may see some Ospreys in here. So we will see a lot more different aircraft. Am I hearing that right?
I think it's a potential. Yeah, really, we're an offer of services. So if that unit comes out, conducts their site reconnaissance, and goes, hey, I think I can do this, it gets safed by the range team, and we open up Fort Knox so that they can achieve that training objective. So, I mean, just this last week, we had a couple Super Cobras from the Marine Corps here, and they're like the only people still flying Hueys. We had a couple couple Hueys on the deck. It looked like a Vietnam movie. It was interesting.
There you go. Okay. Well, Commander, thank you for coming over again. And next time you come over, we'll have you at the Chamber of Commerce lunch.
No, that'd be great.
That way you guys can get something to eat and really enjoy our hospitality.
Thanks, Judge. And we're happy to come brief anything. If you guys ever just want a regular Fort Knox update, be glad to come show you guys kind of what we're doing across the whole portfolio.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming over.
Thank you all.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Bill Horn, Soil Conservation Budget.
Good evening, Judge, magistrates. I've got my annual plan of work and budget. I believe it was all emailed to Candy, who got you copies. Nothing's really changed since last year. If there's any questions or anything, we appreciate your support, keeping us on the budget, keeping us going. Anytime you got a question or anybody else wants to come, we're under the open meetings law. Anybody in the county can show up at our meetings. We're on the fourth Monday, 7 o'clock at the extension office. So.
Any questions, members?
No, we don't need any action or anything, do we?
One of the main reasons I'm here is we get dinged 25% of our state money if it's not in the fiscal court budgets, or minutes that we've done. Either y'all come to us or we come to you. It could be any magistrate or the judge. The judge usually gets there about once a year. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So anytime anybody has a question or just wants to drop in and say hi, no problem. Appreciate it.
All right.
Well, thanks a lot for putting all that together.
Yeah. Thank you, Bill.
Oh,
Okay.
he didn't-
All right. Good deal. Okay. Charlie. There you go. First reading, public hearing for zoning ordinance 24-02. John Gregory Algar.
Planning docket 2024 Z04, John Gregory Alger, seeking to rezone from R1 to conservation, located on Applegate Run, parcel number 007-00-00-077BB, located in an unincorporated area of the county. 3.01 acres more or less. Purpose is to place a mobile home on the site. Comprehensive plan calls for agricultural or rural residential. The Bullitt County Planning Commission, pursuant to provisions of KRS 100.211, held a public hearing concerning the application on February 8th, 2024. Based on the testimony at the hearing, the Bullitt County Planning Commission finds that the map amendment is in agreement with the community's comprehensive plan. The original zoning classification given to the property was inappropriate or improper, and there is agricultural zoning in the area. The following restrictions were added: that the home be placed on a permanent foundation, and that there will be a minimum of 15-foot side yard setbacks on both sides. Because of the testimony received, the Bullitt County Planning Commission recommends this requested zoning change be approved and sends a favorable recommendation to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court.
Tammy?
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 24-02. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from R1 residential to conservation. The property in question is 3.01 acres more or less, located at Applegate Run, Lot 1B, parcel number 007-00-00-077BB in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission in docket number 2024 Z-04, is hereby changed from R1 residential to conservation. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be effective and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 5th day of March 2024, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 19th day of March 2024.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Charlie. Anyone here to speak for zoning ordinance 24-02, John Gregory Algar? Anyone here to speak against zoning ordinance 24-02, John Gregory Algar? Hearing none. Next item, 2024-2025 Kentucky Pride Fund Recycling Grant. Christie?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Bullitt County is submitting an application for the 2024-25 Kentucky Pride Fund Recycling Grant. It's a matching grant, and what we're asking for is 2 household hazardous waste collection dates instead of 1. The expenditures will be, we expect it to be $50,000 for both events. We're applying for a $40,000 grant, which will require a $10,000 match. So I wanted to see, how you guys felt about that, if you want to do just 1. With the turnout that we had last year and the amount of materials that were collected, there's a huge need. We get calls every week for places to take household hazardous waste and electronic scrap. The $10,000 match is already detailed how we plan to spend that. $5,000 of that goes towards local advertising, local businesses that will support us during those events. And the other 5, if we do need the full grant, will be applied directly towards disposal.
Okay.
I think
Any
we've seen your
discussion?
numbers in your presentation and stuff, and it's obvious that it was very, very, very well received, and based on you, I mean, I would be all for it. I definitely would be in
So
support of it.
I'm confident in the amount that we're asking for, because I don't think we could have physically unloaded more than we did during the last event. And that event cost just under $23,000. So to have 2 events, I feel like we'll be right at $50,000 if they were fully utilized. If it's something that we don't use, we can send it back. Or part of what I'm asking for is.
I think we got you on record, though. You're never going to send money back.
Oh, I'm not going to send it back. So part of the advertising for this is going to be a campaign we send to the schools as part of advertising for the event about what is household hazardous waste for them to take home. So we can spend quite a bit of that $10,000 match, and it'll be used in the school system.
Tom will like that. He'll probably get a little bit of that, won't you, Tom?
Tom?
I'm all for that. When did we have that one last year? When was the date on that?
It was September 9th.
So would you do something in the spring then?
So my goal is, they only do them for 4 hours at a time. So my goal is, we have a tentative date with the contractors for September 28th. I need to check with Car Country to see if we can still have it there. Also, I would like to have one, depending on how well that goes, I'd like to schedule one for March or April. So I want one in the fall and the spring.
Okay.
And, depending on the participation, we may move the second one to another place in the county,
Do you need any action to pursue that grant, or do you just need our okay until you get to that point? Or?
Well, the grant is due to be submitted by April 1st, so
Do you want me to
I'll be
do we
submitting
need
it
that
this
in the
week.
motion?
Yeah,
form of
put it in
motion?
the motion.
Well, let me backpedal a little bit here. I'll put that in the form of a motion that I accept, or that we accept your proposal to obtain a Kentucky Pride Fund recycling grant with the fiscal court providing, is it up to $10,000? Up to $10,000 to make the grant necessary.
Okay, thank you.
A second.
Got a motion by Second District Magistrate Logston, a second by First District Magistrate Sanders to approve the $10,000 match for the recycling grant of the 2024-2025 budget cycle for hazardous waste. Sam, call a roll.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Leamel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. This next one, name a new and unnamed road, Van Meter Valley Drive. Charlie?
So yeah, it's the previously unnamed road off of Newman Hill Road. They'd like to name it Van Meter Valley Drive. It'll be a private road, so they don't expect any county maintenance on it. This will clean it up for the future. There are 3 or 4 current properties that one's already pulled a permit on, and I know another one's coming. So they'll be addressed more correctly on Van Meter Valley Drive than they would be off Newman Hill Road.
Okay. So, distilling down a little bit deeper here, that means that this will go back over to our 911 system as well?
I will take care
Quicker.
of
Okay.
notifying dispatch.
And need a motion on that to rename the road.
So I'll put it in the form of a motion to name a new and unnamed road, Van Meter Valley Drive, off of Newman Hill.
Okay. Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Blamel, a second by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson to approve the unnamed road off of Newman Hill to be renamed to Van Meter Valley Drive. Sam, call the roll, please.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Leamel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Digital radio system. Mr. Whitaker, our jailer.
Just another upgrade to the Bullitt County Detention Center. Right now, we're running on a UHF outdated radio system. Working with Justin and Jonathan with EMA, we received an estimate from Motorola for $48,186.27. I think everybody's got the copy of the estimate. This is going to be a tremendous asset for the safety of the deputies, the inmates, and security of the jail. Also, right now, we are doing transports without any radio communications whatsoever with dispatch. So that's something else that we need to, reason why I need the system. So when we do transports, we can be recorded for the safety of the deputy and the inmates that we are transporting, whether it be within the county or out of the county also. Part of the purchase will be made through the commissary, but also through a couple of line items that we have.
Okay.
So I'm asking you all to please pass this for us for the safety of the deputies, inmates in the detention center.
Okay.
And I want to thank Justin and Jonathan personally up here. They've been a tremendous help, and of course the deputy judges helped me on it also.
Right.
Thank you all.
And Motorola is consistent with what we have right. And Motorola is consistent with what we have right now too, as
Yes,
well.
sir.
So we need a motion.
Yes,
I'll
please.
put it in the form of a motion that we allow the and consider the digital radio system they need for transport of prisoners, safety of deputies.
I'll second that. Do you need that a specific amount put in the motion or anything? 48,186.27, but he's got different line items, but I guess you would be cutting the check for that. upon receipt of the
Yes, sir.
equipment. I'll second that.
Okay. Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Blamel, a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logsdon to approve the purchase of the Motorola digital radio system for the detention center.
1 second though, real quick. You might not want to put that specific amount in there. That does say on the notes, it says that doesn't, that excludes sales tax or applicable taxes. So there could be some
Right.
additional fees beyond that 48,000.
No, we don't have to.
So there's nothing else on, there might be some, well, there still might be some fees or something, but I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't include that in the motion, the price,
Okay.
just to purchase it, because those are so, let's put it this way,
All the time.
they move, they're moving targets sometimes with Motorola. We can take it up to what, 50,000 or 55,000? We'll take it up to 55,000.
Yes, yes,
Yep.
ma'am.
Okay. You got that, Sam? Okay. Call roll, please.
Clarkson?
Yes.
Johnson? Yes. Blamel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you all.
And the rest of this is Robert's. Robert, the gasoline and diesel bid for the road department.
It's pretty cut and dry
Okay.
on two of them. We only got one fuel bid. I've reached out to Five Star, reached out to several, wanting somebody else to bid it, and that's all we got. And on our stone, that's the only one we got.
Okay.
And the stone did, it did go down a little bit this year, so. The only one we got is, our paving, our asphalt.
You think we'll be in a better position this year with asphalt, or they still got a lot to do there on 65? Or I know last kind of year, two, it's kind of been taking all the asphalt up.
Yeah, they got quite a bit to do out there, far up probably, March 15th, somewhere up in there.
Yeah.
As soon as the season actually opens. And, but it shouldn't hurt us. What they're doing this year won't use near the amount that they
Maybe they use this
last year.
past. Yeah, 'cause it looks like they got a lot of it down already.
Yeah, well, about all they got left now is surface. So they'll run through that pretty quick, a few weeks and they're done. So, on our asphalt,
Asphalt,
all,
there you go, and all, too, on that, on the quality.
I reached out to Hall, Louisville Paving and, Mago, trying to get more bids coming in. And, Hall and Mago bid it. Mago was a little higher on, base, which we don't use very much base at all. Maybe 5, 6, 7, 8% base throughout the year, and the rest of it's surface. Mago, was 50 cents a ton cheaper than Hall on the surface, so I'd like to see y'all go with Mago.
On the, who did you want, who was the fuel one? I didn't see that in my packet, but I know you only got one bid, so.
For the diesel, but I got all the rest of them.
Just didn't get the fuel one, but if it's only bid, it don't really matter too much. Is that who we're with now currently? Yeah, yeah.
Who is it?
Premier,
Premier,
and
we
you're,
got all the rest of them.
We
It's
got
just we didn't have.
quality.
and Robert, you're happy with Premier and their services and everything?
Yeah, and that's the only one that even quote us. I talked to all of them, and, like Five Star Newcomb's up there, they really wanted to work with us, but, they can't because they cannot do above ground tanks. They can only do underground tanks. So that's the only supplier that we've even found. so.
Well, I'll take care of this first one here, that I'll put in the form of motion. We only received one bid on that, and that's who we're currently working with now, that we accept the gasoline and diesel bid for the Bullitt County Road Department on behalf of Premier Companies, the quote that we received from them. You want to see that? Yeah.
Second.
Got it? Are you ready, Barry?
Yeah, she's ready.
Okay.
She's ready.
Yeah.
Second by Brian.
Right, to accept the bid from Premier for the gasoline and diesel bid for the road department. I just wanted to make sure we had seen the correspondence. Sam, call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Blumel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And then we need one for the stone bid for the road department, of which we just had one again. Quality?
The stone, yeah, we only had one.
Yeah.
Did y'all get that?
Yeah, we got quality.
Yes, we have the stone.
Well, I'll put that in the form of a motion that we accept the stone bid for the Bullitt County Road Department on behalf of Quality Stone and Ready Mix. You got that?
Have that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
I got the Premier. I'll just
Got a
leave this one.
motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 4th District Magistrate Blemo to accept the bid from Quality for the stone bid for the road department. Sam, call the roll.
Blumel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. The asphalt mix bid for the road department.
No, I got two of these, but I didn't hear who you recommended. Which one did you want to go with?
Mago,
Okay.
Where is Hall Paving?
Brooks,
Where?
Brooks. They're in the Brooks quarry.
Mm-hmm.
And I reached out to Louisville Paving also, because they got a plant right across from our shop,
Yep.
and they never turned the bid in.
The mango was just a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the year, it's gonna be cheaper going Mago.
Plus, in the past, when our equipment wasn't up to snuff, they would loan us equipment to Blacktop.
Yeah, and the good thing is also Mago's, it says it'll be firm and they won't be adjusted through the year, so it's locked in prices. So I'll go ahead and put that in form of a motion that we accept the bid from Mago Construction Company for asphalt mix for Bullitt County Road Department.
A second.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 1st District Magistrate Sanders to accept the asphalt mix bid for the road department granted to Mago. Sam, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Blumel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Chris. Firefighters,
Thanks, Robert.
our recommendation.
I don't know what.
Morning, Chris, Rebecca.
First, I would like to ask for a moment of silence. I'm sure you all may have heard, on Sunday, there was an ambulance transporting from eastern Kentucky to Lexington. It had a wreck on the Mountain Parkway, rolled over. Unfortunately, the patient in the back died. The EMT in the back suffered life-threatening injuries, and she's at UK right now. Thank you.
Okay.
So I want to present what we're trying to get from for grant monies, assistance to firefighters grant program, also referred to as the AFG grant. Its primary goal is to meet the firefighting and emergency response needs of fire departments and non-affiliated emergency medical service organizations, which that's what we would be. All grants have a notice of funding opportunity, which outlines what we're eligible to use the grant for. The application period for 2023 opened on January 29th, 24, and closes on March 8th, 24 at 5 p.m. FEMA anticipates making the funds available April 30th of 2024. The criteria development panel has recommended major changes to the fiscal year 23 AFG program priorities, which will put emphasis on PPP PPE or personal protective equipment for our providers. We're eligible to receive up to $3 million with a 10% non-federal funds match. We're seeking to apply for this up to $3 million for monitoring equipment, ballistics equipment for our safety, and then possibly some upgraded radio equipment.
Okay.
And then with that, we would put all those items out for bid.
And this says firefighters, but it's for
It
all.
says firefighter.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
First responders.
And that's the non-affiliated emergency medical services,
Right.
which would be a non-fire department EMS service.
Which is us. We're not part of any fire department. Uh-huh.
And so you said the grant is up to $3 million. Did you say with up to a 10% requirement from us?
It is due to our population and being non-affiliated
It is $3
EMS,
million.
it is a 10% match regardless of the amount we get.
Right.
Okay, so the most we would be looking at would be obviously 300,000 or something if you got the full amount.
Correct.
It's similar to some of the other grants we've gotten since we've been here as well. But we need a motion and a approval for him to move us forward, and I think we can find the funding in next year's budget because it'll take that long to get the grant approved.
Do you have
Or I may have misunderstood.
So originally, I was wanting to look at some updated or upgraded patient moving equipment, so stretchers, stair chairs. And as I was reading through the grant requirements, our equipment is too new to use it for that. So I haven't gotten bids for the other things yet. Without including the radios, the ballistics equipment and the monitoring equipment, I would estimate about 500,000. But with the radios, it's going to bump it up.
May have been kind of what he asked, but is there restrictions on how that money what the money can be used for?
There is,
Oh, yeah.
and that's included in the notice of funding. If you go to FEMA.org, you can look up this grant and see what all's required, or what all's eligible and what's ineligible for the grant.
And I may have misunderstood the dates. Today's March the 5th. Did you say the 8th it's due?
Yes,
So,
the 8th.
and then if you are approved as quick as, I think you said April the 30th?
30th.
So you could actually receive the money by April the 30th?
Potentially, yes.
So then our requirement would kick in between now and April the 30th for the match. Is that
I'm
correct?
not sure if that would need to be done before the fiscal year or after. I'm not exactly sure how that works. John?
I'm not sure if it's required for, we can figure it out.
I would think that it would be required after the purchase of the things, so you show receipts.
Yeah, because it would have to require a budget amendment. Is that a federal?
It is.
I mean, I'm okay as long as I got Keith or the judge's blessing that the money's, allocated in there for that. I mean, obviously, it's something we look at any opportunity for grants in the past. I just didn't.
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, 300,000 to get 3 million. I mean, it's a no-brainer as long as but you still have to have the money accessible to get the 3 million though. But I want to make sure it's available and because it sounds like we don't really know when we got to write that check. It could happen before April the 30th or after, but.
And that's the top of the line.
Yeah.
We went through this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Put that together.
10% match.
10%, yeah.
So we don't know if we'll get it or how much we'll get.
Yeah,
Right.
well,
This is just the process to make sure.
I mean, I think it was something with a 10% type match and that type of return on investment. Obviously, we'll figure out what we can do over there at the EMS, obviously, with those funds. I'm okay with that. Obviously, if y'all have talked about it and feel like the money's there to put that there, to have that type of return, if we're able to get that, would be amazing. Anything's better than nothing, but to think about the possibility of getting the max would be unbelievable. So, I mean, I'll put that in the form of a motion to approve the firefighters grant, the ability to pursue that grant, with a 10% match by the fiscal court.
I'll second.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson to approve the firefighters grant up to the 10% match moving forward. Sam, call a roll, please.
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Leamle.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you all. Chris, you going to stay up here for the next one, or Janice? We just only have one new hire.
Real quick, Judge. In addition to that, can we seek bids for some of this equipment? Because most of it is going to be over $40,000.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep. And also on your new hire is the EMT.
Is this one that y'all recruited for class? How's the other four doing that?
I'm going to put that in form of a motion to hire, where'd they go? I can't see nothing. Brittany Bright at $19.50 an hour.
I'll second.
Okay. Sam, call the roll, please.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Leamle.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, Rebecca, thank you, Janice. Vera, you got any comments, closing comments?
No, I don't.
Sean?
No, I'm good.
Karen?
Nope.
Brian?
I don't have anything today.
And we got this from the developer down at 245, and I'd like to show you this video and all those in attendance, and we'll do it again on March the 19th as well, of what the proposed visitors experience is going to look like at 245. Is there music?
Elevator, I'm tired of walking upstairs.
No, you're going to have to be hiking. Well, there's probably is one in there somewhere. There was music. Yeah, there was music with it. And to help you all a little bit, myself and Keith and Kay, we took this up and we presented this concept for state involvement as well with Secretary Kay Spear of the Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Council and Mona Hewitt, his deputy secretary. And they were really intrigued about it. that something like this would be privately built at the 245 exit. So this is, I just thought I'd share that with you all. We've showed it to all the department heads as well. So I did want you to know that the development down there is alive and well, and they're going to they'll have a series of announcements starting right after we open the new animal control center. And one other thing, Candy, do you have it on the screen? But I would like to make the announcements about the hospital, the dates up there. We're going to put them on our Facebook page and on our website as well. I had them right here. If you'll excuse me for just a minute. Well, it's not only March 18th. There's quite a few. Yes, it's March 18th is one for. That's for the ribbon cutting with the governor, and before that will be a breakfast and a tour from 8 till 10. Yeah. Here it is, right here. They're also having one for a first responder luncheon, and I'm hoping all of our guys attend on the March 14th from 11 to 1, and then the community breakfast and open house on the 18th. It's going to be a great asset to our community all the way around, a regional facility. We're also going to post on our website and Facebook support letters, if you want to write them, and who to write them to for the Brown Cancer Center. I think the Courier Journal's written some fast-tracking articles about it already. We're wanting to get it here into Bullitt County to serve rural Kentucky. It is right now it's in the budget for the state, and it will be built at the same facility. This is really changing the landscape of our community by getting total medical facilities here in Bullitt County. And that's all I have. What time is it, Vera?
It's time to adjourn.
Okay.
7:50.
All right. Got a motion.
Second.
Brian.
Second.
Got a motion by 1st District Magistrate Sanders, second by 4th District Magistrate Blamel to adjourn the Bullitt County Fiscal Court at 7:50 p.m. on March the 5th. Sam, call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Blamel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?